So my storage compartment on my aluminum boat kept on taking in rainwater, and I want to show you how I used one of these inexpensive endoscopes to help me figure out how to fix it. Now before you start cracking on me for cutting the flotation out of this bench seat, just know it was already like that when I got the boat over 20 years ago, and all I've ever done is try to improve on the design, such as putting down these synthetic deck boards mostly to support the swivel seat bracket, using all stainless hardware of course, and put silicone on every seam and hole imaginable to keep the water out. And as for these bilge troughs that run the full length of the boat, I have aluminum sheeting installed over those where they go under the bench, again with tons of silicone. And lastly, this 13 by 17 Tempest marine access hatch that was previously just a goofy hole cut in the bench with a piece of old plywood on it. Now as you can see, my boat cover has seen better days, but even with the little trickles this thing was letting through here and there was just a crazy amount of water in that compartment every time I'd open her up, and that was driving me crazy. Now I tried hosing her down and looking through the hatch to see where the water was coming through with a flashlight, but there was only so much I could rule out with the hatch open, and I'm too big to crawl in there and close the door behind me, and the youngster's definitely gotten too big, or too busy I should say. So what I decided to do was close the hatch, pull that seat as you saw, and snake this endoscope through the hole in the seat bracket and get to looking around. Now it didn't take very long at all of making it rain with a garden hose, repositioning that camera, and closing her up before I could see very clearly that the water was coming through underneath one corner of the outer flange of the access hatch. And that little camera led me right to it. As you can see, the picture can be a little grainy at times depending on focus and distance of objects from the camera, but for little diagnostics like this, it's absolutely plenty. Now I don't blame the makers of this hatch one bit. This was 100% my fault. Apparently I was not generous enough with the silicone when I put this thing in. So I pulled her out, got her all prepped and cleaned, and buddy, you better believe I was generous this time. And a good bit got wasted when I tightened her down, but I didn't want to risk a three-peat. And once I had all the screws back in and cleaned up my big silicone mess, I did improve on the original design a little bit by adding some RV weather seal to the underside of the lid in the area that precedes the actual gasket. As one final measure of insurance, I disassembled the latches, and after appreciating Tempest's rather ingenious design for keeping water out, I did have to say that, like me, they're a little bit stingy with the silicone. In this case, it was silicone grease rather than sealant. But after getting those back together and a lot more testing with the garden hose, I'm finally proud to say that this storage cabinet is capable of keeping even my most precious belongings safe and dry. Thanks for watching. See you next time.